Welcome back. You know, we spent a lot of time in this show talking about wasteful spending, but now I've got the flip side to it. I want to talk to you about a program that wastes absolutely not a single taxpayer cent. It actually sees real results, and there's numbers to back it up as well. Now think about this. 95%, in fact even more, of inmates in prison eventually get released back into society. Unfortunately, more than 60% of those prisoners end up right back in prison after they can't make it on the outside. Well, in New York State, give you a frame of reference, more than $50,000 a year is spent to try and keep somebody behind bars. But it only costs about $37,000 over the entire lifetime of an education, about 6 years on average, to educate a prisoner. Now, what if I told you there's a program out there that doesn't cost taxpayers a dime, allows inmates to earn a college degree, and again here, all through private funding, and over the lifetime of it will save more than $100,000 if you add it all up when it's all said and done, and it slashes the recidivism rate to 0. Well, if you're skeptical, you shouldn't be. You'll see in a second, this thing is a reality. It's called Hudson Link, and it's got a 100% success rate. It means none of the graduates, not a single one, have returned to prison since they've been released from prison. Well, last night, 25 men at Sing Sing Correctional Facility were there for the annual graduation. They received a college degree from exactly that program. And our own Kim Lengel, she attended the graduation, and she's here now to tell us more.
Yeah, Rich, this graduation was like no other. Now, these men are not your typical college students. Many said their college degree is a new lease on life. But theirs is a life behind bars in a maximum security prison. These men are students in the Hudson Link program at Sing Sing Correctional Facility in Ossining, New York. Hudson Link provides a college education to incarcerated men and women to break the cycle of crime and poverty. 25 men convicted of felony crimes, some even murder, marched down the makeshift aisle in the visitors' room of Sing Sing Correctional Facility last night. Graduates wore caps and gowns covering their state prison-issued green trousers.
We're making changes today that will send ripples down in history.
Executive Director of Hudson Link, Sean Pica, says he knows the value of a good education. He served 16 years in prison for manslaughter, the last 7 spent in Cell Block A at Sing Sing. Sean got his GED, his bachelor's degree, and a master's degree, all while serving time in prison. Sean says he's not an exception, that when given a chance, most inmates in prison can and will achieve a new beginning.
It's about children in this audience today that will turn to you at the end of the ceremony and say, you know what, Dad? If you can do it, I can do it. And wives and sisters and mothers that begin to say the same thing.
You understand better than most in this society today that indeed the real source of wealth in a society is not physical things. They may be the result of wealth, but the real wealth is the human mind.
Billionaire and editor-in-chief of Forbes Media, Stephen Forbes, discussed the concept of wealth. And for inmates who earn only $12 to $15 every 2 weeks working at the prison, wealth won't come easy. But his point, persevere and pay it forward. That sentiment was echoed by many of the speakers.
Just being who you are isn't enough. Just deciding to do the right thing isn't enough. 2 things have to occur. You have to be given the opportunity, and you have to be given some help. Tonight is representation of your commitment, your opportunity, and everybody's help.
12 years ago, Commissioner of the New York State Department of Corrections, Brian Fisher, stepped into Sing Sing as a superintendent. He championed the philosophy that education is the foundation of everything else that's positive in life. It demands willingness and resources.
And that's why you're graduating today. You didn't do it by yourself. You may think you did. When you go back tonight and you think about it, you know, you might want to say, hey, look what I did. Well, you did not do it by yourself. You did it with all these people, and you did it with your families, and you did it with the Hudson League supporters and Mercy College and everybody else.
As the graduates listened to their fellow inmates and valedictorian Ivan Chappelle, they grappled with mixed emotions.
Within the constructs of our former places in society, we all partook of a cycle of violence, a cycle of poverty, a cycle of broken homes. Breaking these cycles, one and all, is one of our key goals. It may sound far-fetched to some of you, but because of your time, dedication, and love, it is possible. So place your hope in this, please.
Now, most inmates who survive prison end up getting chewed up and spit out on the mean streets because they have few skills to get a job. These men are part of the 9th graduating class of Hudson Link, and incredibly, in the 10 years this program has existed, not a single prisoner has returned to prison. Rich?
You know, I've been to a few of these over the years. My brother's involved in this project, and I tell people, I have to cover, you've covered graduations with some big name commencement speakers. I said, before people walk in the door, it'll be the best commencement address. And I have no idea about the script coming, and it didn't disappoint. Am I right here? You could hear a pin drop. I mean, some graphic stories about, these are not, you know, faint of heart. You don't go to sing some maximum security facility, you know, because you ran a red light. These are bad guys. But what they've chosen to do in the most unbelievable setting, you know, it makes you think, you know, that there is a power of redemption out there.
They've sacrificed, and that was palpable. You could feel that in the room. You could feel the hard work that they put into their degrees, and they know what the value of these degrees is.
And they also, for me, there wasn't a single one who didn't have remorse in that room, because the more that they got a handle, I think, on their lives, every year I hear it, the worse they feel and acknowledge, because it forces them to own up to the horrible things they did on the outside. And when they get out, like we said, 19 out of 20 inmates will get out. There's a chance they'll pay it forward, much more so than if they didn't get the degree.
I think the chance of them paying it forward is extremely high.
So far, it's 100%. All right, Kim, thank you very much. Now, when we come back, we're going to meet some of those graduating inmates. Kim sat down with a valedictorian and some other grads who's going to describe the moment as bittersweet. Deeply personal conversations about personal triumphs overshadowed by tragedies that, for some, may never be repaired. Please stay with us. Welcome back, everybody. We are talking about what can only be described as a very unique program, Hudson Link. As you saw before the break, it provides education to prison inmates. Now, it's controversial, but I got to remind everybody, there's not a single cent of your money or mine, no public dollars are going towards this. It's all privately funded. And the numbers show it's actually going to save the state a lot of money in the long run, and by any metric, it's got to be called a major success story. Among the hundreds of inmates who graduated from Hudson Link, and I got to remind you, this is the actual college degree and the real coursework that somebody would be getting if they went to those same colleges on the outside. Among those who've received the degrees and have been released into the general population, zero, not one of them, has gone back to prison. I want to bring back Kim Lengel, who attended the graduation last night, as you saw, and she sat down with some of the inmates for what has to be described as very personal conversations about not just their experiences and what got them in there, but also about what it must be like to try and get a degree in a maximum security facility.
It's hard. It's a lot of hard work, is what they said. The graduating inmates were not at all shy about the emotions they felt during graduation. Many said they were grappling with mixed emotions of pride and shame. Pride first for their accomplishment, and shame for what they've done that landed them in prison.
Ivan Sufal.
Somebody different. I don't have to be this. I don't have to be what's considered a scorched society at all.
Do you feel even a little different now that you have Bachelor's of Science?
Knowing I'm away from my child and my family, because I killed somebody, and I didn't. That's not like something you grow up wanting to do.
Mom, God answers my prayers. I pray for mercy on my soul. And tonight you all witness, and I realize the mercy that I've received. I live with much regret for not honoring you and Dad while he was still here with us. I just need you to hang on and stay strong. Live life, be happy, stay healthy and hopeful, and I'll be home as soon as I can. Take care of you. I love you. To my baby girl, I spent less than 24 hours with you in the last 10 years. Karen Alicia, your forgiveness, your love, and your friendship is heaven to me. even if you and everybody else can forgive me, I can't forgive myself.
Pride is not good in and of itself when it's interpreted the wrong way. I don't want to be overproud is my point. I understand what I accomplished. But no matter how much education I get, I'll never be able to repay what I'm suffering for.
Christopher O'Neill.
You're one of the few inmates who have grandkids here.
Right, right.
How does that feel?
I guess I don't know.
I mean, you're a
grandpa.
grandpa.
Yeah, grandpa. Yeah. Well, I'm 43 right now, so I guess I don't know. I feel still kind of young, but it's a blessing to even have them because a lot of time, a lot of people in here, like right now, you see 24 men here, you see the family, but then you have majority of men in here that don't have family members come to see them and stuff like that. So I look at that as being blessed, even though I'm in this situation. So it's a blessing and it makes me feel good.
Christopher O'Neill is one of the inmates who received a Bachelor's of Science degree. He says he wants to break the cycle of violence, but not before it's touched his family one more tragic time. His 21-year-old son was murdered in the Bronx 4 months ago.
If I was there, maybe that's not would not have happened, but I use that to talk to my other children and let them know that, listen, you know, if you put in positive energy now, it may seem hard, but if you put that positive energy and focus now, it'll pay off in the long run.
Lamont Bryant.
A lot of the speakers talked about paying it forward. What is your plan for paying it forward now that you have this degree?
Well, I believe this degree, it signifies a whole lot for me because at this moment, it speaks to what I had to do to get this degree. And I believe, you know, the idea of paying it forward from this degree is a whole lot. But in order to get here, I had to pay it forward.
Very few people had to go to prison to get a college degree.
Yes, but I don't think few actually, I mean, it is only few that get it here, when there could be more.
Kenyatta Hughes.
Like there's a much wider, broader scope, and I don't know that I would have realized that otherwise.
A lot of your fellow inmates have said something very similar, that they had to go through all the bad stuff that they went through to become the man they are now, and that they're at peace with that. But what do you make of that? That you had to come to prison to get a college degree and have a sense of self?
Well, I think perhaps that means different things to different people because the truth is, I didn't necessarily have to come to prison. There were avenues and opportunities that were available to me. But I was not the person that could take advantage of them.
Kenyatta Hughes served 16 years of a 25-year minimum sentence for murder. He is 37 years old and eligible for parole in 2020.
I don't know that I can necessarily ever atone for the crimes that I've done. I mean, specifically, I mean, we're talking about a man is gone. We're talking about a family that will never have him back. And I don't know if you can make that right.
And I appreciate the process that I've been through for Mercy. I definitely appreciate it. And I'm just in that spirit, you know, right now. Let it last for as long as it possibly can, you know?
Now, several of the inmates we spoke with are still facing at least 10 years in prison. And of course, with all this time, it gives them more reason to think about their future, which may be just a little brighter now. Rich.
Thank you very much, Kim. I appreciate it.